Before this video starts, I want to let you all know that I'm sorry it took so long. I know you've been waiting for it since August, and I've had people in my comments, both on YouTube and Instagram, asking where it is. But let me tell you right now, this video will be worth the wait. The special surprise I mentioned in my last video has been 3 months in the making. It will be the end of this one. So look forward to it and make sure to stick around. That's about it. Enjoy the show. Hello everyone, welcome back to Ryoma Art, and welcome back to the Ryoma region. It's been a good while since I made my last dedicated Ryoma video, and although there was a line of regional forms that I designed during my third Fakey-tober video, I decided to jump back into the project for real. Of course, as you read from the title and thumbnail, this installment will tackle the regional bug line of Ryoma. Yay, you can stop asking me now. But for real, I'm super excited to show you what I came up with for these three. Hope you end up liking them as much as I do, that they end up on your Ryoma team. They're certainly on mine. So, to celebrate the release of Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Pokemon Shining Pearl, let's dive into some brand new bug Fakemon. If this is your first Ryoma art video, welcome, and let me run the basics by you. South and Central America region, we're pulling from wildlife, folklore, history from all across that continent, and there's a lot to work with. There's especially a lot to work with when looking at the bugs, however, as these guys absolutely litter the whole continent, shore to shore. There's a ton of options, so before I decide, let's weigh up the competition. It's time for an in-depth history of bugs through the generations. We begin, of course, in Generation 1, with the early game bugs of Butterfree and Beedrill. Beginning as the incredibly weak Caterpie and Weedle, these Pokemon were made to introduce the concept of evolution to the player. Being fully evolved at just level 10, these Pokemon give near instant power and reward to anyone who decided to give the weak Caterpie a chance in battle. And by the first gym, these will likely be the strongest Pokemon on your team. However, by around the 5th gym, these Pokemon really start to falter in the stat department, and are almost always switched out for something better. They give many the impression that bug types were the worst in the game, learning nearly no stab moves and being quickly outclassed. This kind of treatment showed no signs of stopping over the next few generations, with the absurdly weak Ladian and Ariados having little to no use even past the 3rd gym. Gen 3 brought the wonderful split evolution of Beautify and Dustox, Pokemon that were very similar to the Generation 1 bug friends in typing and ability to be quickly outmatched. And then Gen 4 brought one of the most pathetic displays to the bug party yet, with Kricketune, Wormadam, and Mothim, who are extremely poor picks for even an early game team. While the bug type itself was saved by late game darlings like Sizer, Heracross, and Yanmega, the early game offerings were still failing to reach the heights of the early birds or even the rodents. Then along came Gen 5, the undeniable saviour of early root bug types, the messiah to the insects, bringer of peace and hope to our invertebrate friends. Yeah, Gen 5 good, you've heard it before. Leavanny and Scolipede were absolutely a pair of bold bugs that were not only powerful battlers, but had powerful designs too. Leavanny may look cute and friendly, but its Leafcutter and Inspirations means it packs a mean X-Scissor. And who could forget my favourite centipede horse, Scolipede? Gen 5 in general had a plethora of solid bug types. Many will say it had the best. Personally, I believe that honor goes to one of the most recent generations, 7 and 8. Yes, I'm skipping over Gen 6. It had one bug line, and it was absolute doo-doo dog water. Ignoring the undisputed genius of Pokemon like Golisopod and Frostmoth, the early game bugs of the most recent generations stand with some of the most creative and inspired Pokemon of all time. Managing to carry the ludicrous concept of a stag beetle railgun flawlessly Vikavolt is an incredibly creative design that is simply just too cool to ignore. And then there's Orbeetle. I've hyped up Orbeetle in the past as possibly one of the best designed Pokemon in the whole franchise. It goes from a little nerd lava grub to a radar, mad scientist, UFO, supervillain, mind-controlling, green-eyed wasp ladybug hybrid. Go and watch Lockstin G Noggin's video on the subject if you want to find out more about it in detail. It's insanely interesting. So, in conclusion, I basically have a lot to live up to. So, what direction am I going with my set of bugs? Well, while the vast continent I'm basing my region on has an incredibly diverse array of insects, from a crazy and vibrant collection of butterflies to a dinner plate-sized bird-eating spider, I'm going with one of the more iconic insects of the rainforest. Introducing the bullet ant. The second largest ant species in the world and clocking in about 3 centimeters long, bullet ants get their intimidating name from one thing: their sting. Supposedly the most painful insect venom in the world, the pain that one feels after getting stung by just one bullet ant has been likened to getting shot, hence the name choice. These ants live in such infamy that they are used in initiation rites for the Brazilian Mawe people. Young boys wear gloves woven out of the bodies of these insects and have to endure the pain for 5 to 10 minutes if they want to be called a man. This is so painful that their hands become practically unusable for a long time after, and the boys will experience extreme shaking for days on end. The terrifying power of such a small creature will surely make for an excellent Fakemon. The secondary inspirations here will become more evident as the line goes on. You should be able to figure it out as it's pretty on the nose. Alright, let's get started. First off, you may notice a significant switch of drawing program back to Medabang after I was using Procreate in my Fakey-toba videos. I actually drew this guy a few months ago, so the next ones in the line will be back in Procreate. As you can see, I'm going quite literal with the first form, making it into the shape of an actual bullet. I think the idea of it peeking out of its little carapace looks very sweet. I played around with how to do the arms, eventually settling on these little circular stylized stubs that wouldn't actually serve much purpose but made it really sweet. I gave it a downturned mouth, giving it a passive look that many other regional bugs have too. Then I got to line arting. These kinds of hard exoskeletons require neat and symmetrical line work to look authentic in the Pokemon style. Adding depth to the top of the eyes means I have to vary my line depth a lot more, which is not something I'm good at. I end up fiddling around with the soldier-like hat a lot here to make it look right. The helmet design should give a good indicator of where the line is going next. Colouring was up now, and I decided on a mixture of green, to reference the army hat, and a deep purple red, the colour of a real bullet ant. Next was shading. It wasn't too difficult adding the shadow that the large hat provided, but I decided to also give the shading on the underside of the lower bullet carapace a really harsh edge too. I just think it gives the design a lot more depth. I just added some highlights and voila! Here's Bullant, the Ammunitions Pokemon, a pure bug type. Bullant have a hard exoskeleton that are difficult to break through. When frightened, they retreat into their armour, becoming completely encased other than their antenna. It's been discovered that, in this state, Bullant are extremely aerodynamic. Bullant are picked off one by one from their nest of thousands to help out their superiors in efforts of battle. Bullant have no idea what they are getting themselves into, however. Despite originally drawing this guy back in August, I'm still super pleased with how it turned out. Early root bugs aren't stereotypically cute, but it's a trait I really wanted to include on Bullant, as it works to the comedic advantage of a later form, and I think I absolutely pulled it off. I used to struggle making cute first forms, as looking back, some of my old designs are actually incredibly ugly. If you want to go back and check some of them out, then go visit my Instagram at Ryoma Art. I've learned a lot in the past months. Right, it's time for Bullant to evolve. To start on this form, I didn't want to change the body shape of Bullant too much. I had to kind of make it look like it had outgrown its bullet shell of the first form, so the first thing I did was draw a huge circular head. I played around with how it would fit on the body before deciding to just focus on the face for the time being. I'm sure you can tell, we're going for a very military theme here with this Pokemon, which is something pretty synonymous with ants in general, but I promise I'm presenting an original take on it. Specifically, this formula line is based on a military communications officer. I positioned the antenna downwards at a right angle so they look like earpieces. The idea is that these Pokemon sit behind the front lines, serving as reconnaissance for the rest of the colony during battles. This is based on real activity from ants, as they use their feelers and antenna to communicate and pick up chemical cues and messages. This Pokemon's ones work more like a radio though, allowing them to transmit warnings from afar. I struggled a bit with their legs until I found something. I also gave it a little Bullant in the back of its lower shell that will appear in the Pokedex entry, and then I got to line arting. It was similarly tough on this form to make the lines look neat, but I think I did manage it in the end. The colours didn't change too much from Bullant apart from a few slight hue and brightness shifts. I kept feeling unsatisfied though with the proportions, so I kept fiddling around with the head and mouth. I realised a few things were missing, so I added a war paint like eye circle and a second pair of stubby arms. After some shading and highlights, it was complete. Say hello to Militant, the strategic Pokemon, now a bug and steel type. Able to communicate and send messages through their long antenna like a radio, Militant commands squadrons of Bullant to help out in battles from afar. They rarely get involved in the fights themselves, but are able to hold their own on the battlefield thanks to their strategic mind. Militant may chuck explosive Bullant shells at the enemy from afar. They store these in their protective casing, but sometimes fail to check if there is still a Bullant inside. Like my Pokemon from previous videos, these bug types are redesigns from my Instagram. Most of the Pokemon have changed drastically, as I like to think I've improved since first making my account, but the Bullant line was one I was always proud of. Of course, there have been plenty of tweaks to the other forms, but Militant has probably undergone the most change of any Pokemon so far. Take a look at how it used to be. Yeah, not pleasant. But that just makes me even more pleased with this new form. I think I've managed to make it feel like its own species while still being a great transition between Bullant and, well, let's find out. Let's check out the final evolution to this bug Pokemon line. Here's where the line comes to a head. Of course, keeping the helmet from the previous forms was a must-do here, as it adds a bit of cohesion to a Pokemon that is quite a bit bigger than its previous forms. It had to look intimidating when it came to the face. Not necessarily scary, more calculating and cold. I added real war eye paint streaking down its cheeks, and gave it proper mandibles that were developing on Militant. The antennae were a must here, as they were needed to pick up the warning signals, but I also added more feelers to the sides of its head. Then I got to the body. This was hard as I found it difficult to manage the complicated mixture of army uniform and carapace armour. I think I found a healthy balance though, adding exoskeleton rib bumps that mimicked extra ammunition strapped to its chest. Next was the fun bit, the gimmick of this Pokemon. Making Bullant shaped like a real bullet wasn't just a play on the name of the species it was based on. No, it's so they can be fired out of a cannon. That's right, this Pokemon does a Dragapult and fires its own colony out of its 4 arm cannons. Ants are very social and cooperative creatures, so it makes sense that they would work together this way. I kept fiddling around with the abdomen and bottom arm cannons, aside on a fully front view as it makes this complex Pokemon more easily understandable. I found the legs especially difficult, but eventually I found something that really worked and tied the whole design together. Then it was on to line arting. There's a lot of area to cover here since it's such a vertical design, plus the cannons had to look standardised and neat. Getting the expressions and all the cute little baby Bullant in the cannons was fun though. Then for colour. I went much brighter than the previous forms, opting for a light pink rather than a reddish purple because I knew I was going to shade it harshly. The black markings and hot pink mandibles helped to accentuate its face, allowing it to not get lost in the detail. Some shading and a lot of shiny metallic highlights later, and bam! Introducing Antillery, the Cannoneer Pokemon, a bug and steel type. The sharpest shot in Ryoma's forests, Antillery are master tacticians and lead their squadrons to victory in carefully planned battles. These Pokemon have an intense rivalry with Dragapult. Their duels can last for hours on end. Antillery use the bullant of their nest as ammunition, firing them from all 4 of their arm cannons. The bullant make for effective projectiles, but it is unknown whether they enjoy this kind of treatment. Other than Frog, who are made specifically as a wish fulfillment Pokemon, Antillery is far and away my favourite I've done so far. You might already know this, but I have a really bad habit of creating Pokemon that incorporate other Pokemon into their designs. And by that, I don't mean adding more of the same Pokemon Dugtrio style, but more like Mantine and Remoraid or Dragapult with its Dreepies. I wanted to recreate the magic of those Pokemon with this one, and I think it's a really funny but still intimidating design that works really well. I think also including the rivalry with Dragapult in the Pokédex entry helps make this Pokemon's actions feel less like plagiarism and more like learned behaviour. Pokemon codependency with humans and other Pokemon will be a big focus of Ryoma's story, and the general design theme for many of the upcoming Pokemon for this region, so look forward to more of that. Speaking of looking forward to things, I imagine you've all been waiting for that special surprise I've been mentioning. Well, you're in luck, because I can't wait to show you any longer. Friend of the channel, Dinopuff, has been working non-stop on this project for many months now, and it's truly one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. Go check out his Instagram because he's been posting updates on the project over there for a while, so go follow him to see what he's cooking up next. Done? Alright, it's time to sit back, relax, and get out the popcorn, because this will be one hell of a show. Enjoy. Wow. Just wow. When I first saw what Dinopuff had made there, my jaw hit the floor. You guys don't understand how insanely incredible it is to see my creations come to life in Dinopuff's gorgeous art style. The lighting, sound effects, facial expressions, tension, colour, animation, they're all just so incredible, and all done by one very talented guy. You know you've got to go drop a follow on his YouTube and Instagram. Link in the description. I could talk about his amazing work all day, but you should just go and see it for yourself. Watch out because he'll be big news one day. While you're subscribing to his channel, why not subscribe to mine too? Let me know what you thought of the Ryoma region's regional bug, and tell me what I should do next. There's a ton of avenues to go down, so give me some inspiration. If you're interested in supporting me, I'd love it if you could check out my Patreon. I'll make sure to supply a ton of bonus content and sneak peeks over there, and any support is insanely appreciated. Also, big news, Dinopuff has opened up a Fiverr account. If you want a Pokemon, Fakemon, Digimon, or any other monstrous animation done for your favourite creation, then hop on over and order one today. His skills are absolutely worth it and you won't be disappointed. link in the description. I hope you enjoyed this video as it was so long in the making. If you want to share it with your friends who like Pokemon or Fakemon, then I'm sure they'd enjoy it too. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao for now, everyone.